This video is about a trip I made to Italy in 2016. I want to take a minute to tell you what motivated me to take the trip, and it all started with my grandmother. I was born in 1942 during the Second World War. My German-American father and my Italian-born uncles were overseas serving in the U.S. military, and so I was raised until I was 4 by my mother and my grandparents, Frank and Maria. My grandmother, Maria, didn't speak much English, and Italian was the primary language spoken at our house, but she insisted that I learn and speak English at home. Consequently, I never learned Italian beyond being able to understand a little from hearing family conversations. In spite of all the spoken Italian and Italian food, somehow I never realized until I was an adult that my mother was an immigrant and I am a first-generation Italian-American. Because my mother worked supporting the war effort, it was Maria who raised me during this time, and my early childhood memories about my heritage were all based on classical Italian stories that she told. I learned that she met my grandfather, Francesco Ruggiero, while he was an officer in the Italian army. She left her urban Naples family and married Frank in his mountain hometown of Malvito, Cosenza in 1915. He had previously traveled in the United States, but had returned to Italy during World War I. As a result of these early influences, and in spite of my blonde hair and generally mixed ethnicity, I have always identified with all things Italian. I grew up with my desire to see Italy and learn more about my family heritage. I visited Italy several times as a world traveler, but I had never been to the region my family was from. I realized that I would have to do some research if I wanted to explore my Italian roots. I started by researching the family name Ruggiero, which I discovered could be traced to pre-Roman times. There were many variations on the name, but it was common throughout Italy. I realized it was likely that somewhere in the province of Cosenza was my grandfather's ancestral home, and I wanted to find it. We're on our way to San Francisco Airport to stop for a little lunch here in Richmond Marina, which is a lovely place to be. We're planning to be in Rome by Monday morning, and then from Rome we will, after spending a couple of days in Rome and doing some exploration there, we're going to travel south all the way along the Amalfi Coast, going to Capri and Positano and Salerno and other areas along the coast, and then we're going down, ideally by bus, to the village where my mother and grandfather and the whole family is from, really, a place called Malvito. You see that the airport here is a little bit hectic, but actually things seem to be pretty well organized, and I think we're supposed to meet our person who's picking us up in just a little while. Well, here we are in Rome, at least I think we're still in Rome. We chose a hotel, I chose a hotel, that was 45 minutes out of the city, or beyond Central City. So we're going to stay here tonight to catch up on our rest, and then head for Central City tomorrow. And the street musicians add to the joy of the streets. Here we're across from the Palatine Palaces and on Palatine Hill, the castles of ancient Rome. These were all covered in marble and from all over the world. Well, here we are in Anacapri, and we're having dinner at a wonderful restaurant that we found, and it's very atmospheric, as well as so far having just excellent food. We went today to the Emerald Grotto, and now we're just having a bottle of wine on the back deck and relaxing tonight before we head out to Positano tomorrow. Well, we've finally arrived in Positano, and this is a view of from the top of the Eden Rock Hotel where we're having lunch and a bottle of wine, and it's quite an impressive place. It's, I think Sharon really likes it so far. And of course you have to walk here, but that's good. We get our exercise before we get our rewards. We're up here. We must be up at least 2,000 to 3,000 feet. Positano is a place where they're rich and famous. And here's one of their little boats docked down below us. Well, like the people down below on the balcony beneath us, we're just sitting here and had a nice bottle of wine, and now we're going to walk down to the local restaurant. But what a place this is. Just amazing. It's like something mythical. So this morning we're headed from Positano to Salerno. We're going by ferry and looking forward to the hour-and-a-half trip down the Amalfi Coast. Right now we're just waiting for our luggage to be picked up because it's a big climb back up the mountain, which we're too old to do with heavy bags. So there you have it. Now we're working our way down the mountainside to the town. I wonder how people have the nerve to build on these hillsides and try to maintain life. This is Sunday night, and people are all over the streets. Shops are still open, and it's kind of like a walking festival. So we're going to spend the evening here, go to the historical district, and then leave for southern Italy tomorrow. We're heading south now on the train from Salerno to Cosenza, and then our plan is to take a bus back up to Malvito. Looking forward to getting into the mountain town and seeing perhaps remnants of my ancestral history. We're here with our host and our translators and driver, and we're going to be heading out to Malvito, which is the village that my grandparents and my mother came from, and see what we can find out about the family history there. And we're traveling along Autostrada to which is about 20 kilometers until we go off into the mountains. And we're going up a two-lane road which will lead eventually to Malvito. I just saw the first sign indicating that there was a village up here. So off in the distance is our first glimpse of Malvito, Cosenza. We're winding our way up the mountain to the town.
Piana, comune di Malvito.
Castello di Malvito at the top of the mountain. And we have arrived in Malvito.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's go up this way. See what's what. Well, that's all right. We'll get there. Oh, here's the post office.
Una cugina? No, ho uno zio. Sì, era mia suocera, io dico mia mamma, ma che mia suocera.
Maybe she's my cousin.
Come si chiamava sua mamma, mi dice mia suocera?
Flora.
Flora.
My mother was Flora.
Flora.
Flora Emanuela. Ruggiero.
Emanuela.
Flora Emanuela.
When my grandfather left, his sister stayed in the house. And I think maybe
E non avevi più frate.
was still here, is maybe her daughter.
E non ne
maybe.
trovava allora su Francesco Ruggero non è lo zio di mamma.
Comunque, il
Ah.
Ruggero
My grandfather's sister, yeah. I don't know.
perché c'era
E perché
Filomena.
vogliono vedere a casa vecchia, vogliono vedere. Però se. Cioè, se
Praticamente quando il
a dove portiamo se non sono parenti di mamma, che casa ci facciamo vedere se non c'è? Dipende da dove è sta casa.
Allora che volevo sapere?
Ecco, dici buono qui un
Ha
castello.
detto che è tipo castello.
Che è tipo castello. Ma io tu con le chiude proprietà nostra.
We find out.
Che la vediamo da fuori
Find out. But the one Ruggero
E al limite si scendono in
non
America.
sa il nome della sorella.
Mamma, che sapesse mamma, potevi essere che hanno parenti che erano in America? No, mamma non ha mai saputo.
C'è una sorella è rimasta
We just had an encounter with a group of people, and one of the ladies thought she might be a cousin. So now we're trying to find out what more about the town and some of the history, and where the municipal office is. This is the area around Malvito, and we're looking down here over the cemetery, which I think we're going to go down to and see if we can find any remnants of family tombstones. Anyway, this is the castle of Malvito, Cosenza. We're having lunch by special arrangement in this restaurant. They've set up a table for us and are open for lunch. So we're going to enjoy our lunch. What did we learn from our visit to Malvito? What did we find out? We found out a few things.
A few things about your grandfather and your uncles.
Yeah. And what did we find out? We found out that there's a house here.
There's a house.
And we're still looking for the house.
Lacco.
Contrada Lacco. There is the house.
Aha, that's the house?
Yeah.
Okay, we found out that my grandfather and grandmother were married in Malvito in 1915.
Yeah.
And that my uncles were born in Malvito.
Malvito.
And that probably most of the Ruggerios have moved away now.
Yeah.
We've met the lady in the ministry, the municipality that told us that her family also immigrated to the same town in New York that I'm from, Mamaroneck, which I thought was very interesting.
Very interesting. Now we're going to eat.
Yeah.
So lunch.
And we're here looking at a very good lunch and starting to eat. We're waiting just for me to shut up. Well, we've arrived. This is my grandfather's house, which is now abandoned. And we're going to get up closer, but you can see that it was probably a very nice piece of property at one time, with olive trees and a mountain behind it. They used to go hunting up here, and now it's not used anymore. So the family owned all of this property up the mountainside and this valley, and it was divided among the sons eventually and sold off. This is the view from my grandparents' and great-grandparents' property. Well, the house is a ruin now, but I think it's probably maybe 300 or 400 years old. It's been here a long time, and this is a beautiful sight. What do you think, Sharon? What are your thoughts about this old place?
Oh, well, it's stunning. The view from here.
Oh, look at the sheep down there.
The age of this house is astonishing. Whoops.
Sheep and cows living downstairs.
L'ultimo figlio.
Okay, the last son of Ruggero's family came here 50 years ago.
50 years ago. But,
Però non
oh, they left
dormiva.
here 50 years ago. But when did they come originally, you know? Original?
Non viveva, non dormiva però qua. Veniva, faceva orto, puliva.
He comes here.
Yeah.
Look at the
Però la famiglia vera e propria sono 30 anni che non vive più.
It's not
30
yeah.
years.
No, but
So 30 years.
but this house was built maybe 150 years ago?
Yeah.
But the Ruggeros lived here then?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe at least 150 years.
Yeah.
La
Or
famiglia
more.
l'ha costruita, insomma, quando tempo c'è stato, secondo me?
Sai,
Long
forse
time.
50 anni.
50 years.
At least, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for everything.
Può darsi che quando venite la prossima volta può darsi che l'aggiustiamo un po'. Chissà.
Maybe this is the last time that you see the whole dome in this way.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
the next time will
There is
be...
Well, I don't know if I'll come next time, but if I live long enough, maybe
Faccio il
again.
caffè, poi faccio il caffè qua.
Ma stavo giusto pettino.
Well, if they ever want to sell the property, they should let me know.
No, è una guida perché c'è l'acqua, c'è, capito, ci facciamo l'orto, magari lassù, cioè, bene o male era vicino e andiamo pigliata, se no. Però un contributo.
We're now going up to what was an old fountain and spring on the property. And so we're walking up that way now. See if we can find the old fountain. Oh boy, I'd like to have that spring on my property. Wow. So here it is now, a 300 or 400-year-old ruin that my family lived in and owned. Quite a bit of property here, and now it's been divided. Apparently my grandfather's sister married a second time, and I think inherited or had several children, and then they divided it. They had 4 sons, and they divided the property among the sons, and who sold it all off. And what's left is a 3-acre piece that the people who are showing us around have bought, and they live in another house, of course, but they own the property. This chestnut tree is one that might have been planted by my grandfather when he was a young man, or his father before him. But anyway, it's an edible chestnut tree, and it's obviously been planted here. A last look. A last look before we leave. There's the view to the castle from here. Thank everybody for being so patient and being so helpful, finding out information about my family. It's very important to me. So,
You're welcome.
molte grazie. That's it. We've discovered a lot about the property and about the history and about why my family came here hundreds of years ago. I'll be returning to Italy and hope to have all of the questions answered that we were not able to have answered before in the short time we have. I look forward to our next adventure.